I wonder if it would help us. Let's talk about Kangaroo Jack for a second, because I don't like that movie.
When is it never helpful?
Hello and welcome to StoryFellas, the podcast where we make stories and we break stories. I'm your host, Tommy Antonucci.
And I'm your host, Zach Lovelace.
And this is a very special episode because it's not just the two of us. For the first time in forever, we have a guest, our good friend, Jonathan Lora, or Johnny Lora, as we call him.
What's up, guys? I'm super excited to be on.
Speak to the billions of people listening right now.
Hey, billions of people. How's it going? But you didn't expect a guest.
Yeah, no, this is our first one with a guest. For those who might be watching the video, you might be like, where is Tommy? I'm in Zach's garage.
Yeah. So I invited Tommy down and we were going to try and do a cool in the same room type of thing, but we just underthought it, I think.
Underprepared,
we were missing a few key pieces of gear to make it work smoothly, so we were too echoey in the same room. So I am banished down here to the garage.
Yes, much like myself. The podcast, we're improvising our way through this as our first time guest episode. So just bear with us here, folks. Johnny's a great good friend of ours. We've both known him for probably over half a decade at this point. I currently work with Johnny at the small agency that we work at. He is a video producer there, does pretty much everything you can imagine in video, and I'm a writer there. So I see him every day, and it's always fun, and I'm very excited to have him here.
Yeah. All three of us used to work together. Where we met initially.
Yeah. We all worked together, formed that bond, and now we're here back at it again to tell a story. It's going to be wonderful. Oh, yeah. For those who don't know, which is probably all of you, because I don't know who knows Johnny beforehand, but Johnny's super funny. He's always had that dry wit and that he's also you're more on the quiet side. So you will just walk in and drop one line and it will destroy us because it's always so funny.
Thanks.
Yeah, but we are excited to have you here.
The way I put it is Johnny has mastered the art of nonverbal comedic responses. Or even just very economic verbal responses. So you'll say something ridiculous. I'm usually the wild one, and then Johnny's usually the one that is the kind of the Jerry of the group, the straight man. I'm the Kramer. I'm Kramer, guys. Okay, I'm self-declaring that I'm Kramer.
I just want to make it clear, I'm Kramer.
Yeah, guys. Okay, I'm the comedic force. I'm the most iconic. I'm
going to get canceled in 10 years.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get canceled for doing stand-up. That's actually probably tracks. All the stuff that gets cut from StoryFellas that nobody hears, I'm sure I would end up in a dumpster heap. But anyway.
Thank you, guys. That was a very nice praise. I feel a lot of pressure now to live up to it. So.
No, you better. This better be the best episode ever. No, I'm kidding. We're going to have some fun.
Oh, yeah.
I think Zach has a scrap for us today.
So I actually have a couple of scraps. I will let Johnny decide as the guest. I'm the guest. He as he's one to say. A couple of prompts here are scraps that I have, and I actually off mic was talking to you before this, Johnny. I was like, you remember the one that I was telling you about the other day on our walk during lunch, and you're like, no.
So I'm sure the second you say it, I'm going to remember it. But
yeah, you get to choose. You get to choose between. I won't tell you what they are. I'll just choose you get that one or just a completely different one. That's as much as you know.
Okay.
So something that you maybe have heard, or you confirm.
Oh, you're not even going to reiterate. You're not going to reiterate the one. No. So it's the one he said no to already, or it's a mystery one.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to you when you were originally telling me. I was just kind of just nodding and being like, yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell Tommy. Tell someone who cares. That's fair. Then I guess I'll go with the one that you haven't heard.
I haven't heard any of these. I don't think so.
So the scrap, for those who don't know these types of episodes, these are just little writerly things, ideas that you come up with that don't have a full body or full legs to kind of operate on an idea. It can't be written into a full log line, but it's just something interesting that you want to tell a story about, or even like a little bit of a story. So that's what this is. And I've got a whole notebook worth of these things. The one today, and this is all we have, folks. We got to work with it. It's just the prompt, and we're not sacred with the prompt, so we can deviate easily from this. It's a feature about a family that makes illegal fireworks.
Okay, that's fun. I like it.
I'm intrigued.
So there we are.
It feels like to me immediately. I think of something like this is that kind of masterminds level of like where it's like oh man, we're criminals, but they're like really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They're just like, but they feel like what they're doing. It's like if Walter White was just shoveling fireworks and that was, he's like, we can't get caught.
So they're illegal.
It's important we don't get caught.
It's illegal like in their state, because I know like some states it's illegal, or is it like just the magnitude that makes these fireworks
I think
illegal?
that there are fireworks that are actually illegal to like own in like a private sense.
Okay.
That you'd have to be licensed, at least like big ones.
Yeah.
Disney World does it every day where they fire off giant fireworks. So I think that's what they're dealing with. And just the homemade kind of like bomb adjacent. I think is what is just interesting about it. Like explosives in general are really funny. And,
so it's either this scrap or what's in the mystery box, correct?
Yeah,
I think it's.
Yeah, I thought we were going with this. I thought we were going with this scrap, but
okay.
Because I took your response earlier as being like, I didn't even remember it, but I can tell you that scrap if
I want to hear it. I want to be able.
You want to know what you're missing out on?
I just forgot.
I kind of want to hear it too.
All right, then I'll give you the one mulligan. You got to make the half court shot on this. Take this one. Okay. Let's see. Where did I put it? So yeah, it's just a romantic comedy about a florist.
Okay.
That's the one you pitched Johnny the other day, and he said no.
Well, he just didn't remember it. Because I was like, it'd be cool to write like a low-level feature to make with our friends, and there's this florist right here, and every time I see it, it looks really cool, and I was like, it'd be cool if, whatever. It was around Valentine's Day, I think is what, it was actually a while ago.
That's probably why I don't remember then.
That idea popped in my head. I wrote this note down after watching Valentine's Day, which is a garbage movie, by the way. That movie
with Ashton Kutcher?
Yes.
Yeah, where you have like 100 movie stars in it.
Yes, back when that was like their like LeBron, Dwayne Wade, super team of like.
Well, they didn't
not that
amount
big.
To anything.
Is
the difference. I mean, it's interesting if we want to make it an ensemble cast, make that work. I think that could be interesting.
Yeah,
but we have to work with certain personalities, certain stars, and their typecast personality.
Oh, so you think you'd want to know actors ahead of time?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to go in that direction, I just think that's
Now, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. I don't see why these two stories can't be one story.
I was thinking that same thing. I thought about that too.
Because I feel like there's, like, when I think of the rom-com, I picture this girl at a flower shop and some dude who's selling illegal fireworks who falls in love with her, but he's like, she can't know that I'm selling illegal fireworks.
And the theme is generally
fireworks.
If we do this, there has to be a scene where his fireworks burns down her florist shop at some point.
Oh yeah, the theme that comes to mind, because I'm all about the thematic level.
Yeah.
The theme that comes to mind is that you don't marry an individual, you marry their family, and that's like the tagline. Where this girl is like, maybe they're married, maybe they got married really quickly. I don't know. I just that kind of idea of like you don't date. I think there's even a Malcolm in the Middle episode about that, where Malcolm starts liking the family more than the girl. He's like dating a girl and he loves hanging out with the family, but not her. So he has to like, we should do things together, and then they keep doing group activities.
Yeah.
But no, I like that. I would smash them together. Flowers and fireworks, man.
Okay.
So if it's rom-com, then let's think we've got like a guy and a girl. I think there's a couple ways we could do this where it's like guy's fireworks man, girl is the flower shop, or just leaning more into family. It could be like girl or guy owns flower shop, but they are part of a bigger family that sells illegal fireworks. And that's them breaking out. And they're like fall in love, but then like their family, like it's like this weird mafia family.
Yeah.
And you think they're like smuggling drugs, but then you find out it's like, check it out. They pop the trunk and it's just this giant firework.
If it blew up, I don't know what's more. It would be.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, this is lethal. People, we have killed people with these fireworks before. So I don't know if you want to lean more family dynamic, that might be the way to go, or you can kind of lean more like just relationship, like the kind of star-crossed lovers kind of thing.
Going with the guy is the fireworks like person, and he's got a crazy family, and the girl is the owner / like as part of the florist thing, and it's like how they interact, I think is kind of interesting. I thought of a montage at the beginning where, you know, the people who come in once a year and sell fireworks for whatever holidays, and you just see those holidays back to back to back, and they set up in the same like shopping center as this florist is at, and so they just see each other like 5 times a year or whatever, and you just see them grow up, and then finally they both own the things.
Okay.
Their own respective.
In that scenario, is he committing a crime anymore, or is he just a fireworks salesman?
I think it's both. You know,
I feel like he is. Yeah,
I do.
It's just like doesn't weigh on his conscience. He's been doing it his whole life.
He's selling the little things like at the pop-up stand, but then like he goes home, he has this pleasant like conversation with her, and then he goes and like has this like this massive warehouse where he's like selling these giant
like underground
illegal.
Very mafia-like, you know. You have a family, nice, you know, home life, and then you go out and like murder someone, you know.
He uses exclusively fireworks.
Yeah.
He only uses fireworks. He's like, I'm going to off you with the Star Spangled Banner 5000.
Yeah, real patriotic. No, I think we have to kind of get these elements to jive a little bit more, like making them. But that's what I was trying to do by having like some sort of organic reason why they would be around each other. Yeah. Like for holidays that they set up there, and she only sees him once or whatever, or we just pick up in media res that's already an established relationship. I think you want there to be tension, the kind of like frenemies thing. You mentioned the whole like, oh, he burned down her place. Like maybe that is the case, and that's the beginning. Like it's the first act break is like, you know, he's like, let me make it up to you. Like maybe, you know, I can make you the money. Like, you know, insurance is saying we don't get money for it because we technically were buying fireworks from you, and so like, you know, they look like insurance fraud. And so they don't have any money to rebuild their florist building.
So I wonder if it would help us. Let's talk about Kangaroo Jack for a second, because I don't like that movie. When
is it never helpful?
Michael Myers. Right.
But at the beginning, like the whole gist, I don't know if you guys have seen Kangaroo Jack, but you have like the one guy who's like the hairstylist, but he's the black sheep of the family because the rest of the family are criminals.
Yes.
If we wanted, we could do a similar thing with our guy where he does sell fireworks and he doesn't love being a criminal but then he's like part of the family business. I don't know if that helps us kind of bridge the gap between him and her.
Yeah.
Where like he has a secret life he's not proud of and doesn't really want to have. And he's trying to start something with her, but then he's like, it's like his family gets in the way of that kind of stuff. But we can also make him the head honcho if we want. I think it's just harder to bridge that gap at that point.
It is, yeah.
Like if he's offing people, like why does he care about the flower shop?
Yeah. I think
he cares about her, you know, like I guess we could have a scene, like you said, when they're growing up or something and their families own the business and there's like some sort of past between the two families. That, you know, there's a connection. Not between
We're actually brother and sister.
They find out at the end.
Yeah, that's the last 2 minutes of the movie. They just find out, and they're like,
see
it just ends, dude. It's like Planet of the Apes. It's just you see the ending. Okay, man, they blew up the world.
I do want to correct myself. You said Kangaroo Jack, and I said it with Mike Myers, right? And it was Jerry O'Connell, not Mike Myers.
I was like, maybe I'm misremembering it. I don't think there's Mike Myers.
Yeah, Cat in the Hat with Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah. From Stand By Me.
Yeah.
I think, what if we made there's like a feuding, we kind of have this kind of Romeo and Juliet thing almost. Maybe the parents, like maybe his dad burned down the mother's flower shop in the past.
Okay.
And now this is the daughter's flower shop, and she's like, doesn't like him, the son, because of what the family did.
Or he did it as a kid, like back in the day. Like we start on that, you know,
just launches a big old firework through the window.
Yeah.
And just playing around, you know, he's a kid.
Yeah, exactly. He was part of his dad's business, and then they never went back there. Yeah. And so then she finds him somewhere down the road, like she's going to stop to buy fireworks or whatever. That's actually interesting. I love the idea of fireworks and romance kind of going hand in hand. Like the fireworks are going off. So she's like engaged Although I know I don't like that story. Like the idea that she's engaged. And then they stop, like her fiance is like, let's stop and get some fireworks on the side of the road somewhere. And she sees him and it's just like, it's like getting in his face or whatever. And is still mad about it. But it's like the romance is still there. And so it becomes kind of a thing. Like maybe their family's on vacation and they're buying fireworks from this guy. Let's call him Buck.
Okay.
Buck. Oh, like Buck. Yeah. Buck.
Yeah. Just Buck. This is a good. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Is that like a nickname for something or?
Bucky.
I guess I'm wearing a Buccaneers shirt right now. For
okay. We'll go with Bucky.
That's all it is.
Johnny should drop us give us a female character name.
Oh God.
Something off the dome.
Let me see.
We don't know any females.
No, I don't know any women.
I don't. Yeah. Let's go with Estelle.
Estelle?
Oh.
Estelle.
Estelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Estelle. That's cool. Buck and Estelle.
Yeah.
That was the name of I had the Kangaroo Jack cast pulled up, and Estella Warren played the love interest.
It's like we lose Johnny halfway through this episode because he's like, I gotta go watch Kangaroo Jack, guys.
I gotta go.
The CGI was great. The CGI kangaroo. Anthony Anderson.
I rewatched that not too long ago, and it's a bit rough. Like the comedy's a bit like on the.
It's not child appropriate. I remember we rented it from Hollywood Video as a family, and my parents turning it off.
I like. First off, it has certain jokes that I don't think would fly in today's climate.
Yeah.
But second, it's just like you said, like it's supposed to be. It's like, oh, funny kangaroo in the previews, and then it's like, oh, it's pretty crude.
Yeah.
It's pretty crude throughout the entire thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that as a kid too. I went and saw it in the theater. It was a big movie for my generation. I'm a few years older than you guys, and you weren't part of it. Okay.
Oh, it was big in my generation. My fellow kindergartners.
It's big now. It's come back around.
Yeah. No, man, they used to call me Kangaroo Zach. Okay, that's how big it was. At Harbin's Elementary.
Hip to the hip.
Well, it used to be a cartoon. Oh. And then wasn't it a cartoon? And then they made it into a movie.
Maybe.
I feel like it might have been the inverse. I feel like they might have made the movie and then they made it into a cartoon.
Hold on.
Sorry, this is a Kangaroo Jack podcast now. I think, our story with Buck and Estelle, they are lovers. And I do think a very popular romance plot device is friends to enemies. Or enemies to friends, sorry.
Romeo and Juliet kind of.
A little bit, yeah. I guess it's not as played up in Romeo and Juliet. Like they don't openly hate each other. They kind of fall in love immediately. But I think that's the case. Is like Buck falls for her pretty hard, and she falls for him, and they just never do anything about it.
I feel. What if we did this? I know I'm just throwing wrenches in the order of things, but maybe like they did not like each other as kids because he burned down her mother's shop or something with a firework. And then maybe Estelle's family moves from the town or the city for a while, like years. And then they move back. And I think that it could lead to some funny thing where they're both doing their things. Maybe he's doing his crime stuff. And they kind of bump in and they have a meet cute and they don't realize that that's who the other person is.
Yeah.
So like this starts forming this interest and then it's this blow up when she's like, wait, you're the kid that burned down my mother's shop?
Yeah, and he's all burned and scarred up and everything. He's just like, how'd you know? What gave it away? He's got like skin grafts everywhere.
Oh my gosh. So what would give it away? Like she finds out his name or something? Like, my name is Buck.
Yeah, and his dad's name was probably Buck, and they were like Buckaroo, whatever, fireworks.
Bucky's fireworks, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's illegal, so like they're not going to,
Well, they sell illegal fireworks outside of like a legitimate firework business.
Okay.
But I remember just that idea came from, and this will help kind of give us a little bit more here. Reading about an illegal fireworks operation, I think it was in Tennessee somewhere, that it literally blew up and killed like most of the family.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought that was an interesting like idea of these people like operating something that's illegal but isn't normal day-to-day illegal. It's actually somewhat
doesn't seem that
equally
lucrative.
as dangerous as like drugs, in its own way, just volatile. And then they're always kind of they're like a risk taking family, the fireworks family. And I really like that they are aggressive, bombastic, all of those things just thematically in these characters. I mean, you play that up. I really do like the idea of somebody being really burned, like an uncle or something, where he's just like, but Uncle Toasty. He's like,
he doesn't have a nose.
He's got like no fingers.
Yeah.
I like Uncle Toasty. Let's make the movie about Uncle Toasty.
I like Uncle Toasty too.
This is the story of Uncle Toasty. I think like him being like an endearing, like a father figure. Maybe his father's like the crime boss, and then you got Uncle Toasty who like actually gives him real advice.
Yeah.
I like that. I think them being personified by their things, like by flowers, it kind of has that elemental vibe, that Disney elemental, like
a little bit.
Like you're personified by the thing, which I like. I think it's that opposites attract. It's the Earth Nation and Fire Nation.
Yeah, here we are. Everybody, they've now realized that Tommy's a big Avatar
Zootopia.
head.
Yeah.
I do like Avatar.
That's
like
it too.
I shaved my head.
Oh,
yeah. That's why I have a big arrow tattoo. No, Tommy, you're such an Avatar head. What house or what nation would Johnny and I be in? And what nation would you be in?
Just off the dome, I feel like Johnny would be Earth Nation. I think Zach would be Fire Nation.
Exactly what I would have said.
Yeah, I thought so.
And I feel like I'd be maybe water or something like that.
And that's because Zach is wearing a fire red shirt and Tommy's wearing a blue shirt.
That's so true.
Yeah. Wait. Johnny, could you go put on an earth color shirt, please?
Give me a second.
He just takes his shirt off. Great. Thanks. But anyway, sidetracked. Yeah, this
I think we need something to, because I like there's like this tension early on that maybe they separate, they kind of come back together. There's kind of this spark. I think to drive the story forward, they either need to know that their families don't like each other and like Romeo and Juliet it, and they're like kind of still, that's kind of that elemental route where it's like, hey, we don't belong together, but we're kind of seeing if it works. Or if they hate each other, there needs to be some sort of conduit that makes them have to interact. Like, because if she's just like hates him, she doesn't have to see him.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be something to force them to, like that whole, you put two characters that don't like each other in a car.
Buddy cop type
and
thing.
then
like they have neighboring kiosks in the mall or something.
Yeah. I think she would want something from him. That's the whole thing. Like she employs him or other way around. Like he has to like force her to do something for him. Where it's like, hey, I'll pay off your debt, even though we don't have that fleshed out or anything. Well, I'll pay off your debt if you do this for me. So it's a little tit for tat that they have to like come together for a common third cause. So like what would a criminal fireworks guy be able to provide a pretty straight-laced
maybe she wants to open up like a, she's upgrading from like a truck to like brick and mortar store,
shop,
a flower shop. Yeah. And
I was going to say, yes, something like the landlord of like the strip mall or something like is going to kick her out or kick both of them out or something like that. And it's like, cause they can't make rent or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I've got something that if we sell it could get us both our rent, but it's like, it's not necessarily legal, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where she's like in a tight spot. She doesn't want to lose her parents' flower shop or whatever. So it's like, all right, can we? She's like, is it like hard drugs? He's like, no. Like she like jumps to that kind of stuff. She's like, all right, is it like selling meth? And he's like, no, we're selling fireworks, just bigger ones.
That's kind of cool.
That can toast a man or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
like my uncle.
I'm still.
Yeah. You're still thinking
like
about Uncle Toasty? Yeah.
Uncle Toasty, man.
Well, Tommy and I have learned through doing this many times now that if there's a more interesting character between the two, that might be the better thing. But yeah, I do agree that they should have a bigger enemy, keeping the romance being the point of this movie. I like the idea that she's either employing him to help her do something illegal, like I need to do insurance fraud and you know how to blow something up. Or like my ex-husband is evil basically. And I need you, like, can you help me blow up his house or something? Like, I know that's bad, but yeah, there's Johnny. Yeah. There's Johnny with the one word responses. Whoa.
I like the idea of like that where he's the criminal, but then she needs to become, she's like kind of pushing things even that he's uncomfortable with. That's kind of like, in a sense, I know I'm throwing out a lot of examples of movies. I'm trying to see what sticks, like, because it's a lot of rom-coms, but like Tangled, where you've got your Flynn Rider, who's kind of the like criminal. The guy who's like a criminal, but then like she gets thrown into the mix and makes his life way more complicated, which you would think his life's already complicated. But then like, because of her, it's like, okay, now things are like harder and weirder and something like that.
There's a right way to be a criminal, and she's like not going about it.
She's not good at it. She's not good at being a criminal.
That's true. Are we set on the backstory of that he torched her parents' flower business?
Yeah, they hate each other.
And maybe it didn't burn all the way to the ground. It just destroyed a whole bunch of stuff they needed to rebuild. They were down for a long time, you know. And actually, I thought that they actually arrest him. Like they and so he goes to jail for whatever damage, and then he gets out. It's like they were teenagers. They get out, and now they're, you know.
What would arresting him bring to the table?
Revenge of some kind. Like he's mad at her.
So he's mad at her. Okay.
Yeah. / like they're not allowed within so many feet of each other, or maybe it was their romance that actually caused it to happen. Like they were.
Oh, so
he wasn't paying attention somewhere, and something happened, and so now we have like set up that they liked each other, but that's like, oh, our families really don't want us to be together because it's a sore spot for my dad who went to jail for it, and then my dad who lost part of his business.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we just need to pivot, and we need to like figure out which one of they either had the romance young and something went south and he burned the thing down and the families don't like each other, or it's more like they have beef with each other, so that you start out, they don't really like each other, and then they grow to like each other, you know?
Yeah.
Because those are two different stories, because the first one is like, maybe he goes to jail, but they still like each other and they're trying to start things back up. I feel like there's more fun to be had if they don't like each other. Maybe he did do like not even that long, like maybe 3 to 6 months in like a juvie or something. And but he had really ticked him off. Yeah. And then she has to come to him. She's like, oh, I need your help with something. And he's like, because of you, I went to,
you could push
away for 6 months.
You could push that wound even harder, where my dad got busted for it. Like, and then I went to juvie, but my dad got busted because he had already had priors. And so he went to jail. He went to prison for like 6 years, you know, like a real stretch. And he's just now getting out. But I had to go to foster care because of that. So now he's got a real axe to grind on them, on that family.
Yeah.
I like the idea of them meeting in their adult life somewhere else. Not that like they're not attached anywhere. That's why I was throwing in the fiance, the current fiance for her, even though there might be like some tension between her and Buck, Estelle and Buck. That way we have like an obstacle to get over, and like even a reason to continue that for them to interact, like a third party that wants to buy fireworks from him. You know, it's like I got out of foster care. Go ahead.
I was gonna say her fiance is like an event coordinator, and he's like, I need big fireworks. Yeah. I need he's very excited to be there, and he wants like big bombastic stuff. So like that, I don't want it to be this, like he needs to be like a jerk or something. Like, do we need to end it? Because I really don't like stories that are just like, oh, I'm engaged, but then I start fooling around with this other. Like I don't want to go down that. Like there's a lot of movies that way.
Yeah, I agree. Although it's funny, back in the day, people used to get engaged way more often and break them off way more often. Like in the 50s, people would get engaged and then like move it one town over and find someone else and like, I'm not going to get married to them anymore.
Oh wow!
It just was like the cultural kind of thing. I'm not saying that's how we have it now, but now there's definitely you're so much more embedded in someone's life before you pop the question. So yeah, maybe she's a high profile florist for his events, and maybe it's like a wedding thing, and there's a destination wedding on like the panhandle of Florida, or maybe in California or some other nice beach, Mexico or somewhere, and that's where he's at now. He's like, well, the fireworks aren't illegal down here.
We need big fireworks. We need something illegal.
If we pivot, we need something that's going to blow away the competition. What if that perspective makes me think? What if she just had this, her family had this humble flower shop. We cut fast forward. Now she's like you said, a high profile florist who does like big events, big ceremonies, important girl. Maybe the guy's not, she's not married with the guy, but that's just her boss. Like for this big events thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, she's just kind of like second, she always works with him. And then he's like, we're going down to Florida. We're having this crazy party for this really rich couple that's getting married. And we're going to get some fireworks. And then that's when he hires the Buck to work for the company.
Yeah.
And then he's like, now you guys need to work that forces them. That's kind of that thing, that tension. Okay. And then,
that's good.
So they're stuck working together. And maybe he's not doing illegal stuff anymore. Maybe he's like a straight and narrow thing. And he's like, the stuff your boss is asking for, like, I know where to find it, but I don't really do that kind of business anymore. And I don't know. I feel like that's a good. He's like, the bride and groom said if everyone walks away okay, it's not big enough.
Yeah. We want someone to be deaf. We want someone to go partially deaf. Our love is that loud.
Maybe it could be like a concert. I don't know. Just maybe a different kind of event.
That's true. Yeah.
It can.
That has less to do with flowers, though. Like, do you know what I mean?
Depends on the
really shoehorn that in.
Yeah.
I think you can lean into like the hyper rich, like the super rich, like a ceremony that's going to last a week.
Okay.
And like,
then maybe
what's just like super rich.
Totally.
People.
What's holding us back is her relationship with the flowers. She could just be. Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
It's just at Disney World.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thanks.
So flowers and the fireworks.
Flowers and fireworks.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Or like whatever.
She's a florist at Disney World, and he's called in, I guess, by.
It's unfilmable at that point, but that would work.
Some big theme park. But that actually would work.
I think him having a story about
a theme park or something,
being fired by Disney, I think could be funny.
Yeah. Bob Iger crawling back, asking him like, "You made the best fireworks for our shows. Man. We need you back.
One last ride."
You remember that pride flag firework you made? Haven't been able to recreate it.
Thanks, Bob. We were never able to do it again.
So, okay, I like, whether it's a big event or it is like a theme park. I wouldn't want to do Disney. I'd want to make some fictional theme park. But I think that works. That forces them. But I think no matter what, they have to be high profile. At this point, they're both well established. Because if she's just like tending some flowers, like there's no reason she's going to have to work with this guy who's arranging the fireworks. Like they are like the key people leading their teams. And the boss, I think we should name the boss too. Okay. Because like this eccentric event planner.
Yeah. So before we get there, I do want to push back 1 second on it being a theme park.
Okay.
I think a theme park is fine. It asks more questions, and it's kind of a never-ending event, as opposed to a wedding, which is romantic and could kind of set the tone. And it's a big like celebrity wedding, and that way we can come up with a celebrity, and like have that kind of trickle into the story rather than it being like having to come up with a whole theme park. Does that make sense?
Okay, that's fair. We can pivot for the time being and do like a ceremony. The only thing, if we decided to switch back to some sort of theme park, is it's like the 100-year anniversary or something. There's like an event, like a monumental occasion where like, they're not going to permanently hire this firework guy. Exactly. They're just like, we need to blind people with the fireworks. Like it's going to be so much.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
But we can revisit like the event.
The wedding
itself.
just makes it more intimate too. Like that they would be involved with the reception and all that kind of stuff. Like they would be around each other. They'd be testing out different sparklers and what, you know what I mean? Like it would just be.
I don't think the fireworks people interact with the florists at an amusement park. That's a fair point.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think plus like you could have it could be fun to have the super rich couple and their families as like characters.
Yes.
Because like a massive wedding is big enough that you need these people, but intimate enough that you can have key people, eccentric people that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's what unifies them a little bit because they're both like worker people compared to these like hyper rich they're like, I don't relate to them.
Yeah, I like that.
And
a lot.
then, but some reason they have
How
to.
about it's still Bob?
That's the thing. Is like the wife wants the best flowers and the husband wants the best fireworks.
Yeah.
And that's like why they call these people. And what was that?
I was going to meet in the middle and say it's still Bob Iger, but it's his wedding, and he knows him because he's the guy who does the Disney fireworks.
I was thinking you could make it a theme park owner.
Yeah,
that's what makes them super rich. Is there a family that owns theme parks,
like a giant theme park? Yeah,
and
someone who's used the guy before for some other event.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like our family partly owns Cedar Point, and a bunch of other kind of Mall of America. I don't know, like other like roadside attraction type things, but they have built it into an empire. I like that a lot. So let's name the company owner. The event.
The company owner for the event, like it's like the company's called like Worldwide Events or something that, like just something over the top. And then it's like, I don't know. I was thinking like Daryl or William or something like that.
Yeah, I think William is fine. I think Daryl is like, those are totally, I wanted it to be kind of goofy where it's like he legally changed his name to be like Worldwide.
Okay. His name is Worldwide.
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, well, that's Pitbull, obviously.
Worldwide.
That's Pitbull, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
That could be the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just worldwide. He's like, the legal battle I got into over being Mr. Worldwide. I'm still recovering from.
Yeah. I didn't like the name Mr. Global.
It's like a Trump kind of character.
Yeah.
Very eccentric, very crazy.
Yes.
Goofy.
And he's the guy who makes weddings for rich people and other events.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then we have the couple and maybe the couple's parents. And I think we could explore them later more if they're key. I think I really like this backstory, like their childhood leading to this. They're both well established and they're like, oh, it's you. I think that's all great.
Yeah,
I like
that.
I think this weird, crazy wedding is really funny.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot of jokes. We need to start experimenting, like what threads them together, like what I guess the job forces them together, but like what are some of the beats that we could see? They don't have to be in order, but like what endears them to each other, what makes them relate
each other
in this.
Like,
and part of it can be that they're relating compared to these other people. Like they're like, they're just, and all these people drinking champagne and celebrating, they like go in the hallway and find the other one there, like just drinking a beer or something.
Yeah,
like,
I think one of the kind of classic scenes you could imagine for this would be, like you said, the super rich couple, the bridezilla. We'll just call her Bridezilla for now. She doesn't like a floral arrangement that this girl made, and it's just like she's like, "This is garbage. This is yeah." And then he jumps in and defends her.
Yeah.
I like that. Or like he sees it and just like counsels her for a minute after that, maybe. And
I like that.
Yeah, like them berating her, or maybe just the bridezilla berating her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Bridezilla. I didn't know you didn't like peonies, or whatever. These were orchids flown in from a small African nation." And she's like, "They look gross." And she destroys all the flowers.
I like the idea of her getting upset and like him giving her a pep talk. Like I like this.
And then him getting back on them. I think like he gets revenge on her behalf.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Because I like there being some line where he's like trying to encourage her. He's like, "Hey, the things I do need to be pretty for like a second.
Yeah.
You have the hard job. You have to make things pretty like constantly."
Yeah.
Just like him trying to like boost her self-esteem in the wake of this
That's
craziness.
good, yeah.
What do you think I want to piggyback off of your line about getting revenge, that the bridezilla maybe does some pretty like nasty things to her, maybe multiple times. And so now his goal is to work with her to get back and ruin the wedding for the bridezilla. By doing something with the fireworks.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but that's like their scheme, I guess. How are they going to, pull something off?
Piggybacking on that too, I like the idea. I feel like I've seen this in movies where they're like, "Hey, we're going to prank them." And they try to do something like in their head smaller.
Yes.
Okay.
And then like it becomes like a firework, it pops off and it like creates this chain event that like, they're like, "Oh shoot." Like if they get caught, it kills someone, or like if they get caught, they're like, "Someone blew up my billionaire daddy."
Yeah.
Or something.
They blew up their jet on accident. Like that would be funny, where it's like something big.
And then then that's kind of fun because then you have almost this like weird reverse heist movie, like this like reverse, because then they're like in cahoots with each other. Like we've got to make sure, this does not get found out about. But I do like the idea of like them getting revenge. But I don't know if they try to ruin the wedding. I think them accidentally starting to ruin the wedding.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it wouldn't be like, hey, now we are actually conspiring to do it, kind of Parent Trap style. Sure. Like that's the plot of the movie of them being like, we're going to ruin their marriage. But yeah, I like the idea that the Buck has an assistant as well. And this actually doubles back to an episode that Tommy and I did early on, Dig Deep, of like a non-English speaking guy. So just like an Asian, like fireworks guy that he just works with, and it's like his chemist or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he's just like a blue collar guy that like literally builds the fireworks and has done it and like has whatever. But just that guy coming into play at some point and like kicking someone's butt. Or like
like when things are breaking bad and they're like the security guards are like trying to catch them, and then like he like kicks in the door with a firework the size of his body and like just kills like all the security guards. It's like great. And it's like, hey man, you just you committed multiple murders just now, and then the guy like doesn't understand. He just like nods. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, like he's his sidekick. Basically, he's his sidekick, and
I think that
just fleshes it out. Where it's like you have this kind of good old boy Appalachian illegal fireworks family guy, and then someone from like China that actually would be part of an illegal fireworks thing on the other side of the world, and they have just found a bond as being part of this subculture. I think is really interesting. Like they love when things go boom, man. Everybody loves when things go boom. Or there's good booms and there's bad booms. I think that's good.
That's like the sidekick has that line. It's like there's good booms and there's bad booms. I think having her having like a female friend too, I feel like that just helps in a rom-com because you've got them to like relate with someone. Like maybe she has an assistant, he has his like his firework engineer as like a main secondary supporting cast. I have an idea. I don't know if I like it. Like if they like somehow discover some like criminal activity within the family.
Oh yeah.
And then like they go, which they're already wanting illegal fireworks. So maybe it's not like worth them like trying to crack the case. Yeah. It's just something they have to navigate around.
Well, so I'm thinking if they have a destination wedding in Baja, Mexico, that's where we're at. And there's cartel presence. I just think that's a pretty easy, slide in for some like action type thing. And I think it would be really cool if Buck has to go next level and use fireworks to get out of a tight spot that maybe the bachelor party got him into. They're like, hey man, you're a pretty fun guy. You want to come drinking with us? And so he gets off and ends up getting roped in with the cartel somehow. I think that could be kind of cool. This is just a wild idea I wanted to stitch in.
Yeah. I really like, dude, this is like, so like the world they're entering with this like crazy, it's kind of, like Crazy Rich Asians, you know? It's like so like,
I haven't seen it.
It's popped up on my Netflix recently and I was like, oh, maybe. I heard a lot of chatter about it.
They go to like a bachelor party and the guys like rents like an army like ship that they're having the bachelor party on, and they're just like shooting bazookas into the ocean and stuff. That's like cool. It's just like absurd levels of money, and I feel like that's what you like. You can almost anything can happen. Yeah. It's almost fantasy because it's so ridiculous. I like that a lot. I really like the idea of like either Buck or his engineer like has like fireworks strapped to him, like he like pulls his jacket open and he just uses like fireworks as weapons to like get him out of pinches. He's like he like gives it to Estelle. He's like if you find yourself in a tight spot, you pull the pin on this and throw it and no one will be able to see for the next hour.
An hour, wow.
That's actually kind of cool.
It's like, are you? It's like he's like borderline. He's like, yeah, don't tell anybody about this. Don't tell.
Yeah, I love that they have their own kind of special powers a little bit. That Buck has the bombs, and his sidekick obviously, and that they could find themselves in a position where they need to fight their way out of something. I think that's cool. I don't know what Estelle's power is.
I think it's like poison ivy. Like she knows plants so well that like she imports this like plant for their revenge that I don't know, it's going to make someone really itchy, like give them a terrible rat. Like I think she could figure out that
Parent
kind of
Trap plot point. I want to get a divorce so bad.
I think this world we're building makes it a lot easier for them to unite. Because in this world of crazy, I think them and their little friends will be like, we got to hang on to each other because we're the kind of as normal as we can be with like shooting firework bombs at each other and stuff like that. I don't think they're trying to. I think it's just them trying to survive, and in doing that, they become an item a little bit. And are they? What is the conclusion? Them just trying to survive this wedding to get the wedding done?
Yeah, I think that, I feel that like could be a natural thing. The wedding just happens. It goes off without a hitch, or maybe it goes off and part of it blows up or whatever. I think
blows up.
I mean, literally, I'm saying like, yeah, maybe it actually their plane that they're going to fly away on blows up, and it comes out that it was full of cocaine or something. You know, they weren't actually getting married. They were just running drugs, like a massive amount of drugs.
We could do something where we have the main couple getting married, and then in all the shenanigans, maybe they fight and they're like, the wedding's off. And then maybe even like they get fired from Worldwide, Dr. Worldwide. Dr. Worldwide. But I feel like this thing of them, like a beat of humanizing the super rich couple, like maybe they're both like distraught and then they have to like, they go to them like as like humans for the first time, where it's like, hey, Art, and they're like, I know we got carried away, but like I really do love them. And then like they kind of we take a beat to humanize them, and like the whole time they're just these caricatures of things, and then they're caught up in the riches of it all. And then maybe that's the thing, that's the dark night of the soul. It's like, I don't even have my job anymore, why do I even care? But then it's like, well, they're crying and I'm gonna go talk to them, and then somehow they bring the marriage back together. And maybe that couple, they get fired by the Worldwide guy, but like they get jobs with them or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just stretching.
Yeah.
I'm like,
no, I like that humanizing the villain, which is pretty typical nowadays of like a hyper rich person. I think that's cool. Then they have a smaller, intimate wedding on the beach, and you know, Buck is still able to make like something amazing happen, like in the sky or whatever. And the bouquet gets caught by somebody at the end. Maybe gets caught by her girlfriend who's been sweet on the sidekick, Buck's sidekick. So we were like pairing people off. You know, everybody is like getting married off.
Yeah. You could do that kind of Ratatouille-esque ending where like they go into business together on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Like
I like that a lot. I think
plants and fireworks. It's just events. Like they make their own little event.
Totally. I think the Zach Lovelace devastation, you know, my trademark.
Oh, here it comes.
Here it comes. Is that Buck gets busted again for something, or takes the fall for something? You know, his sidekick comes in and blows something up because he legit like was trying to hurt someone or whatever, and Buck takes the blame for that. Maybe his sidekick got drunk, you know, and he was sweet on one of the bridesmaids or whatever, but she's like already engaged or something. We set up some plot point where the sidekick has, you know, he's unhinged, but he's not like crazy. He just like gets drunk and does something, and Buck takes the blame for that and ends up going to jail at the end, ends up going to prison at the end. And it's basically Estelle just being like, hey, I'll wait for you. So it's a little bit of a mirror type thing. That we're, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that like he goes away.
Yeah, I get the first time it's her fault in a sense that he goes to jail or juvie. The second time he's taking the fall, but she's waiting for him. She wants him back by the end of that one. And I still like the idea. I like the idea of him taking the fall. Maybe the guy like shoots off a big firework to protect them from something.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, this guy, like, if he gets blamed for this, like, he might get deported or something like that. And he's my friend. So I'm going to take the fall. I still like maybe we still get a little bit of post jail. I like the idea of them having their little business that their friends work with them.
Yeah.
That's like very sweet to me. I like seeing that, even if it's just for a minute.
I agree. There could be an event in prison.
An event in prison. Yeah,
you can get married in prison.
It's like his jail cell, and there's so many like plants in it.
Yeah,
like,
that would be cool. Yeah,
it's like
she sent him a flower.
Like, oh, your girl sent you another plant.
The movie, is that what we're thinking, or the story?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, like the ultra rich couple has had a falling out. I think actually the parents of the ultra rich couple get busted for something illegal, but then they're like, well, we still want to get married though. can you help us like actually make it happen? And then our couple comes in, they help make it happen. They're sweet on each other again. Or maybe in that instance, Estelle and Buck are at odds. I like the idea of the plant in the prison cell being a like kind of Good Will Hunting style ending, where it's like the girl is sweet on you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're rebuilding a life.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to happen kind of thing. So, maybe she does something. I think that's what it is. She does something that ends up being illegal, like setting off a bunch of fireworks, and he takes the blame for it. And
I think that makes more sense for the plot as a whole. But
and even though he takes the blame for it, even though
it's her fault.
It's her fault, obviously. But like, what is it? I had it. I just had it a second ago. Even though she's mad at him. That's the reconciling act.
Yeah.
Is that he absorbs her punishment, and that's what draws her back in. And because I think they kiss. I think that's actually like they come together and they've healed the wound of the past. But then she has to find out something about him that makes her not like him. Like, because that's the typical romance thing where it's like they split up at that point. And then we bring it all back in at the end. Kind of like Good Will Hunting. Again,
a little bit.
Just like they break up and then he's like, I got to go see about a girl, kind of thing. But why would they be mad at each other? Like, what about all the scenario that we've set up?
The second instance, right? The first one being like
It's like, as adults, they start to like each other, but there's some fight. And then after that, he takes the fall for her blowing stuff.
Yeah. What is that fight?
I think maybe I have it. He had a secret. And that's the fact that he's actually married.
Oh boy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We were saying we didn't want to even go with like an engaged person, let alone like a married.
Well, I just feel like
I know.
I feel like that's just like weird. It feels like I feel like if I watched that movie and then I found out as the audience is like, wait, you were married the whole time. It just feels like too much of a left hook of just like.
Well, I'm not rooting for them.
I don't mean to stomp on your idea. I'm not trying to be mean about it. But.
Dude, you just curb stomp me, Tommy.
I think I agree.
You just curb stomp me.
I just feel like
Johnny
I like
curbs on me too.
Yeah, let's gang up on him.
Yeah.
I think I feel like it's just a little bit that knob's up like to 9, and I think the knob needs to be more at like a 5 or a 6. You know,
well, I feel
like there needs to be a fight.
I think that there could be another thing that makes it. Do we not want it to be like a 9 at all? Because I feel like this transgression needs to be
with it, Johnny.
Bigger, I feel like than the previous one. If there was like some sort of,
I'm just saying, like I don't love him being married.
No,
like,
I don't
feel
either.
like that's
I was thinking like maybe that her dad died.
You guys don't even let me explain it.
Her dad died like years ago, and it turns out like he was somehow involved or something. Like something revealed that.
Yeah. Something from the past.
Yeah. Maybe like one of his fireworks. He made it and she doesn't know like he didn't have any involvement with that, but like she assumes he does, and there's like a miscommunication. You killed my father.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's another like level 9 thing. That's not as sticky.
Yeah. That's also if she just thinks he's involved but not. That's kind of like Hitch a little bit, where she gets mad at him for something that she thinks he is.
The misperception.
But then it's like, which I think could work.
I like that she thinks he's a bad guy, and then he takes the fall for her at the end, and he gets a plant in the very ending, and that tells you like, okay, she saw the act of love for her as being, I'm not a bad guy. Like, you know, and maybe she does learn too, you know, that, hey.
So you guys want to end with that, like, you don't want to end post thing with them having a business. You want to end with him getting the plant in prison. And like, there's this like smile, like there's the hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. We can ditch the
climax
thing.
is technically the wedding going off.
Yeah.
Like the wedding going off and it being great. And then the cops showing up, like the FBI shows up and they arrest Buck. Or they come to arrest someone for this thing. For blowing something up or whatever. And he's like, it was me. And they just take him at his word, you know, whatever.
A confession.
But yeah, they find some evidence on him for that thing. And I mean, maybe she was like trying to steal something from the super rich family, and he ends up taking it at the last second to like make it look like he did it.
I think it's not that far of a fetch if like she uses his fireworks to do something and it blows up and destroys something or hurts someone. Cause like if he's like, oh, it was me, it's like, you're the firework guy.
Yeah.
Like how much convincing do I need?
Totally.
Like,
you're a criminal anyway, you know? Yeah, I agree. That could be related to something.
I knew I shouldn't have trusted you, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
The MacGuffin could be for the stand-in without thinking about it too much is like a necklace or something, like something that the super rich mother-in-law would have had or whatever, that she's like, oh, this was my great aunt's, pearl ring. And we recovered it from the Titanic. And so it's like ultra precious to them or whatever. And he steals it, or she steals it out of revenge against the bridezilla, but ends up whatever. So then before they can get married, they come in and they arrest him. I like that. And then it's kind of, then we don't even see the bridezilla and the groom, the super rich groom, like get married. It just ends on that kind of sour note. Estelle goes home. And
wait, explain the necklace thing again. I was a little confused with that.
The necklace thing is what motivates, like that's the crime that sends him to jail at the end, sends him to prison.
That he stole it.
That he takes the blame. She really stole it, but then he grabs it at the last second and has it on him.
It feels like too similar to Titanic.
Motivation is
but,
what?
You know.
Oh, is that
how?
I'm not even.
Isn't that how the what's his name? The villain, he planted it in Leo's jacket or something. And it was like, oh, he stole it. And kind of like, you know,
that's fine.
That's how their tension.
I guess
I also
like just feel like
big love stories. Maybe it is too much like it.
I'm questioning the motivation of her, because if she's like a career woman, like at the top of her game, and so is he, like, why is she works events like this? Like, why is she stealing this stuff?
On the bridezilla.
Yeah.
Oh, just, okay. Just to get back at
Maybe she did it like earlier in the film before, like, you know, they kind of.
Yeah, she's like, I was planning on giving it back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like something like that could work. Not because she's like needs it, because like if it's like, oh, I really need this, it's like she's like top tier florist, like she's got money. Or
this bridezilla is like a horrible person, and so it kind of feels like good in the moment when she does it, and it's like whatever. And then like later, after you've humanized the bridezilla and everything, then it's kind of like,
and we can see the bridezilla mistreating this item too.
Sure,
like she could be treating it poorly, like, oh, I could get 10 of these things or whatever, and it actually ends up, you know, being way more important than they realize or whatever. But again, I think that's just a MacGuffin type thing. It just is a stand-in for whatever happens. There could be some other emotional things, like we said, like they find out about. We need to send him to prison at the end, and then we need them to disagree with each other. They need to be fighting. I don't think those things can be the same thing. So we just have to set that up. I to double back here and defend. I think him being married actually works if you set it up in the beginning, and you just like, again, set up some payoffs. You just bring along clues that he's married the whole time, but then also he's not happily married. And that his wife is just like, she's living a completely different life. Like she ran out on him and everything.
So they're separated, but
it's enough for her to find out like what, you know, but she doesn't know the specifics about any of it. And maybe his now ex-wife like shows up and like gives him a kiss, but Estelle sees this and interprets it like, oh, that's his wife. You know, he finds out that it was, and she's like, yeah, she was giving me the divorce papers. Like the sidekick could say that. He's like, the divorce papers, like she just signed them.
Okay, I think if the wife is like divorcing him and she misconstrues that as just being the wife, then I think that works for me. I just don't want to like.
I don't want to have to root for
praise this like him. Like I don't want to praise him like being like, oh, he's in a marriage, and then at the end he's happy because this girl's sending him flowers.
Like it's not the right message.
It's while still married.
No, I want to hold up like marriage as being a great institution for civilization and a God honoring thing. So I'm not going to try and like bring that down. Yeah. You know, that's why it's like you have to make his ex-wife really bad and doing something that
like it's happening to him rather than him being the conduit.
Yeah, but it's a misunderstanding, which is what you guys are saying. Yep. Like she misunderstands it, and so she's like, "Oh, he's been playing me this whole time."
Okay,
and he's like, "No, I wasn't." Yeah.
So you should have just explained it.
I know.
You should have explained it.
You're right. I'm so stupid. You're right. Yeah, I think we got a pretty good story on our hands.
Yeah.
I love that ending. The plant thing at the end is really cute. And it can be like a thematic plant, meaning forgiveness of some kind. I'm sure there are flowers that are like arrangements and stuff like that. And yeah, I think we have a good little story for Buck and Estelle and their crazy rich theme park owning clients.
Yeah. And Johnny, I appreciate you helping us piece this together. It's been fun.
Yeah.
And if you've listened before, you know we need to come up with a title and we need to come up with a line to wrap this
I've got a few
up.
lines.
And you got lines? I've been racking my brain for titles. I'm trying to find like some sort of like firework related pun. Or something. I'm trying to. Or just like Kaboom. Kaboom is actually I like Kaboom.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Exclamation point or no exclamation point?
Exclamation point for sure.
Okay,
I think. Okay, we can do it. Is it like KA BOOM?
Yeah.
Kaboom.
I think it's a legit word.
I think that's kind of funny. I can see a movie poster where like it's like all eccentric couples. She has like holding a plant and he's holding like a giant firework. And I don't know. We can play around, but that's like my main contender right now. Just Kaboom, the romantic comedy.
I like that because love is the biggest explosive. I think that's the tagline.
That's the tagline.
That's the tagline. Like love is the biggest explosive. Okay, Kaboom.
Just a couple
nice,
tiers
Johnny, got it in one.
A Hallmark film. I think it's you got a lot more higher stakes and better
goofier
visual
comedy.
effects.
Yeah, darker.
Like some weird like crazy stuff you wouldn't see in a Hallmark film.
Yeah. I think Uncle Toasty still has to make an appearance.
Yeah. he'll get
Uncle Toasty is like,
I actually think so that leads into my line. So Tommy, do you have lines?
Okay.
Or Johnny, do you have a line?
I don't have them off the top of my head. So do you have multiple
I have
lines?
multiple lines.
Or do you want
multiple lines? But
okay, let's hear some.
If we want to rope Uncle Toasty back in, you know, he's a confidant. He's been on the phone or maybe Zooming with Buck here and there, and even Estelle has talked to him several times. But you know, they have just had their big fight. He just saw that, or she saw that he's married, and he gets a call from his Uncle Toasty in the burn unit. And he tells him like is he
still in the burn unit?
No, I'm just being funny. He's like, yeah, I burned myself again. No, but he's like, I don't know if Buck is saying, I don't know if I can like take that on myself. Like I basically saying like, I don't know if I can sacrifice myself. You know, or like what could bridge the gap or whatever to reunite me with Estelle. I really do care for her. And Uncle Toasty says, life isn't about keeping all of your fingers.
That's fun. That's cute.
I like life ain't that about keeping all them fingers. You know, he's like, and only one of them matters. And he holds up his ring finger. Yeah.
That's funny.
But
I like it.
That's a funny
cute
line. And that's obviously Uncle Toasty, you know, one of our favorite little characters in here. But I think there are the line from the sidekick saying there are good booms and there are bad booms. Or even Buck says that to Estelle, and then they kiss, and she says that's a good boom, something like that. You know, it's a little cheesy. It's a good kaboom.
Yeah.
But no, the line I like the most though is during their big fight, and Estelle throws at him, "You're addicted to blowing up other people's lives."
That's
good.
Good.
Thematically
That's
works
good.
it in there. It's not too on the nose. You know, that kind of thing. So those are the three lines I got for you folks.
I think those are good.
I like
Johnny. You got anything you want to throw in?
No, I was thinking like maybe we go along the lines of the florist, but I can't think of anything as good. I like the fingers line.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, the fingers line.
It is funny. I like the balance. It is like plants and fireworks. It's just because fireworks is such the crazier thing.
It's the
like
more
I think
marketable
it has more focus in the plants. Yeah. But no, I like those lines a lot, Zach.
Thanks.
I think this is a very funny episode. At the start, I was like, how are we making? Like, I was unsure with the beginning, but I really like where we landed.
I do too.
Just,
we got a good world.
Rich,
we got a good
crazy
world.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Good world. Folks, if you're listening, if you have any other, we'd love to hear. I feel like this is ripe for like funny scenes with the super rich people. If you have any ideas of crazy things that this couple could get into, use the link in the description, send us messages because we want to hear that kind of stuff. of additional scenes because we can't hit on all of them in this hour we've got.
Thanks for coming on, John.
But yeah, I feel yeah, Johnny, thank you for coming on. It was fun having you.
It was a lot of fun.
Hopefully,
I listened.
You enjoyed it?
Awesome. I listened to previous episodes and I'm like, oh, I want to like say something and I can't because I'm just listening to you guys talk, and now I actually can. So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you just like dropped the bomb, no pun intended, on the title. You just sometimes it takes me and Zach a minute. You're just like, how about kaboom? Just kaboom. Just drop the mic, leave the room.
Yeah.
It's like he did it. He did it.
Sometimes it just hits.
It works.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all we've got for you guys. Thank you again, Johnny, for being here. And that was Kaboom, everybody. So we will catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Thank you all for listening to StoryFellas, a part of the Pemmican Studios podcast network. Check out our show notes for bonus material, links, and more. To find out more about our current projects, send us messages, and suggest ideas for the show, go to StoryFellasPodcast.com. If you liked what you heard, share the show with a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to grow this community. Until next time, go make and break those stories.